Hello everybody, my name is Getty122 and welcome back to Pokemon Violet, the Indigo Disk. Last time we went with our favorite characters, Carmine and Kiki, or Kieran, to Area 0. And we went all the way down to the very bottom with the help of the Indigo Disk that we got from the champion Gita. And we were able to capture the hidden treasure of Area 0, Terapagos. Now, before we get into what we're doing this episode, I want to actually take a look at what the heck we just caught exactly, because I don't know. All right, so Terapagos, normal type by default, but it changes to a Stellar Terra type with the moves Terra, Star Storm, Zen Headbutt, Earth Power, and Water Pulse. That covers a lot of ground here. So Terra Star Storm, its signature move. Power of its crystals, user bombards and eliminates the target. When used by Terapagos in its stellar form, the move damages all opposing Pokemon. Okay, and then Terra Shift. When the Pokemon enters battle, it absorbs the energy around itself and transforms into its terrestrial form. So it just instantly goes into its terrestrialization. There's no work around it. It's interesting enough. I don't think I'm really going to be using it moving forward, but, you know, if you guys really want to see me use it, I might consider it. But I think for now, we're just going to go ahead and go back to room 1-4, because apparently there is something new for us to take a look at. Hey, Griffin, glad to see you. You feeling rested and recovered after a big adventure down the other depths? Sure, why not? Oh, youth really is an enviable thing. I'm still feeling all wrung out despite having been back for a while now. But on to why I called you here. Since the return, I've been writing up everything we've discovered on our expedition. Honestly, I've hardly slept. I obtained Gita's permission to turn it all into a book, but don't worry, I've made sure to skip a few details and omit the names of those involved. So voila! A proof copy of the book, freshly delivered from my publisher, just for you. Cool, we got a copy of the book of everything we already know. A proof copy of the exploration notes covering the Area 0 underdepths. It's filled with long paragraphs describing what happened along with Briar's thoughts. I behaved recklessly in the underdepths. I don't know what we would have done if it weren't for you. You truly deserve a copy of this book. I just hope it's sufficient as an apology. Ah, but there was something else I need to check with you. Would you mind showing me your Terra Orb, Griffin? I thought as much. It's behaving like Kieran's and Carmine's orbs. I think it might be because your orbs were directly exposed to the energy from Terapagos. Kieran and Carmine says ever since their underpass, they've been able to terrestrialize their Pokemon without charging their Terra Orbs. Finally! Holy they fixed the one problem of this stupid mechanic! Actually, there's one more piece of news I should share with you related to those deepest depths. You know the terrarium core that hangs from the ceiling of the terrarium? Well, until now, I've been keeping it topped up with a mixture of Paldean soil and water from the crystal pool in Kitakami. That's how we've been able to stabilize the terrestrial phenomenon on our academy grounds. But the other day, I tried adding crystals I collected from the underpass to that mix, and it caused the properties of the core to change. The result? Pokemon shiny in rainbow colors have started appearing all over the terrarium. And they all have the Stellar Terra type. Great! That seems like a horrible thing, but alright. Thanks to this, my research into terrestrial phenomena is shining brighter than ever. Oh, and there was one last thing. A man in a blue suit was looking for you over by the entrance to the academy. That's all I have to report for now. Thanks for setting aside some time to chat. I'm about to pay a visit to my publisher, so I'll leave you to it. Next time we'll meet, I ask for a good long look at Terapagos. Till then. A man in a blue suit. Who could she be talking about? Okay, so looks like we have some other things that we can do if we fill out the Pokedex in its entirety. So looks like we're going to need to do some work in the terrarium. But there are a couple of things that seem to be popping up in the classrooms and league club rooms. So I'd like to address those before we go back to the terrarium. Because the terrarium itself, while interesting, doesn't have a lot to show other than me catching Pokemon. Griffin, you have my thanks for all you have done to help the League Club, and to help Kieran. Once you become champion, Kieran withdrew himself entirely from our ranking system. Though I consider this somewhat sad, it is not as if he and I no longer meet. More than anything, I'm glad he seems to be acting like his former self once more. Indeed, I have been swept up in joy to such an extent that I prepared a tremendous amount of the fight-enabling supplement used in my trial. Please feed your Arceus an appropriate portion of it whenever you wish to fly. What? You want to fly right now? Please slow down. The supplement was never meant to be eaten in such large... Miraidon will be able to fly now. Finally. It would seem your Arceus has powered up somehow. From the looks of it, I would guess it has gained the power to fly whenever you wish it to. Well, I suppose this is an acceptable outcome. As it happens, this is a super hard course for my flying time trial. You may attempt it upon clearing the hard course. Feel free to do so when you are ready. Time for me to go. So long, then. There you are, Griffin. Just the person I was looking for. I heard the news. You're the new BB League champion, am I right? I'll admit, I'm blown away. Inviting you to this academy was the best decision I've made recently. So, now that you've had some time to get comfortable here, how do you find Blueberry Academy? Are you having fun? I love it here. Good, good. Just what I like to hear. Anyway, there's a small favor I'd like to ask of you, Griffin. You see, the whole academy's become so much more lively and energetic since you came here. And that got me thinking, maybe we could have even more people come visit from Paldea. Have them come as special coaches or something. You know a lot of people, right? You've got lots of friends and everything? I mean, like teachers from your school, gym leaders, that sort of thing. Oh, and any strong friends of yours are also welcome here. Leave it to me! Spoken like a true champion. I knew you were the right person to ask. You can use the club room computer to contact anyone you want to invite. Oh, but it'll cost BP. We'll need to pay for their trip and such. Here's some to get you started. Okay, 200. That's perfectly fair. I think I'll arrange for the special coaches to stay in this club room when they're not teaching. You should have a chat with them while they're here. Now then, I'll leave it to you. Enjoy. Okay, well, since we seem to be in a kind of an open-ended position here, I think I'm just gonna do a little bit work on catching Pokemon. We need to complete about 200 entries in the Dex. We have a lot of work to do if we want to achieve that, so I will record as much of it as I can, but I think I'm also going to speed up the process, and I'll try not to waste y'all's time. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the montage. I have gone all over the place and I've caught many Pokemon. And where I'm sitting at right now is I've caught 107 Pokemon of the Pokemon that are in the Blueberry Dex. I'm not sure how many there are, actually. 240 in the Blueberry Dex alone. Now, you'll notice that in the montage, despite the fact that, you know, we have seen starter Pokemon held by certain trainers, we never actually saw any starter Pokemon in the wild for us to catch. And that was one of the big things that was advertised in this particular, well, part of the DLC. Here's the deal. There are certain details in the support board, namely the Terrarium Club. These guys want to boost the power of the terrarium, and they want to increase the biodiversity. This is how you increase the Pokemon that you are able to find, including the starter Pokemon. And as you can see, that's going to cost me quite a bit. We're talking between just this alone, 12,000 BP. Okay? So, even though I enjoyed making the montage, I'm not going to put you through a ridiculous montage of me just doing missions just to get all that done. So I'm going to cut from here just a bit until I have gotten all the BP that I need and all of the Pokemon that I need in order for us to reasonably continue. I know there are a few other things that I could do, but I really do want to prioritize the things that require having 200 more Pokemon, because that is kind of the big goal that we've established here. So I'm going to see you guys in a minute. Well, in a moment for you guys, what may take hours for me. Hi.
Several days later.
Okay, it has been 6 days since that last little part of the video. And I have gotten to the point where I finally have 200 Pokemon registered in the Blueberry Dex. This was an exhausting process trying to get access to all the starters. Because just getting the BP necessary, while not impossible, is extremely tedious and time consuming, especially when I have a full-time job that, you know, kind of eats away at the vast majority of my free time. Now, before we go on to the next thing, there actually is one thing that I want to show you because it made me super happy when I saw it. And that's a matter of Blastoise. So a couple things to point out about Blastoise. First of all, look at the detail on his shell. Like, they really did a good job trying to rework the starters to make them actually look good in this game. Really good detail on the shell. Finally has decently length arms. He's got a good, confident appearance. Like, I love the way he looks. Really reminds me of the Fire Red and Leaf Green days and the way he just looks so confident. I'm very happy. But the biggest thing above anything else is this. Not Endeavor. He finally shoots Hydro Pump from his actual Hydro Cannons! This is something that fans have been asking for years for Blastoise to actually do with the 3D model. And I'm very happy to say that, at least with Hydro Pump, they finally fixed this problem, and Blastoise can use Hydro Pump the way he's always meant to. Now with that out of the way, I'm going to switch my team, and we are going to move on. Hey Griffin, don't tell me. You already got yourself 200 Pokemon for the terrarium? Impressive. It was hard work. Well, look at you putting in all that effort. I like to see that in a kid. You probably know more about the Pokemon terrarium than I do, and I got here first. I guess you've earned yourself that hot tip. Take a look at these photos, would you? Oh. See those strange Pokemon? The first one's called Iron Boulder, and the other one's called Iron Crown. Totally unknown Pokemon in totally unknown places. If they're real, it'd be a huge deal. Apparently, these places are in Paldea. You have any idea where, Griffin? Yes. Wow, are they famous spots? I want to visit them. Of course, you know how it is these days, right? These photos could totally be fakes. But if you want to know for sure, maybe you could go try and search these Pokemon out. I can show you the photos again anytime you like. Just give me a shout. And find me something good, Griffin. I got faith in your survey skills. I really wish it didn't start raining during the cutscene, but now we've established the existence of 2 more Paradox Pokemon, so it looks like we're gonna have to go back to Area 0. Another jump cut! I believe I found our first target of the day. Alright, let's do this. Oh, you can wait directly in front of it. Alright, that's cool. It figured that there would be an Iron Terrakion, considering that they've already basically confirmed the existence of an Iron Virizion Cobalion, so Terrakion just made sense. But in any case, we're gonna do what we always do and start with a quick ball. Oh, critical capture! That's nothing. Let's go, Iron Boulder. Just not gonna waste any time at all. Alright, well, that's 1 down. There we are. Alright, there is Iron Crown. And let's see if we can go 2 for 2. I will say that in terms of designs, these are some of the better designed Paradox Pokemon. Just because of the way that their colorations are kind of dealt out. Even though I do think that the past Paradox Pokemon are ultimately better designs by comparison, I still can't complain about these guys. Alright, looks like we're actually going to have to put on a little bit of effort here. That's Tachyon Cutter, its signature attack. 50 base power, hits twice. It's basically just a legendary gear grind, for those of you who are familiar with that one. I'm going to try to use Volt Switch, that does nothing to Limo. Alright, good. Nope. You can use your electric attacks all you want, because it's not going to do anything to me. Just hoping I can get you paralyzed. There we go, that's what I like to see. Then I'm going to go for 1 more body slam, and then we'll start chucking balls again. Alright, there we go. Pretty simple, straightforward, nothing overly difficult, but still a worthwhile reward. Alright, so now that we've gotten that taken care of, I'm once again going to cut back to Blueberry Academy and try to show our friend the Iron Pokemon. Seriously? My feet are on the ground? Come on, Game Freak! Alright, I've got Iron Boulder and Iron Crown in my party. Let's see what you have to say. What? Griffin, that Pokemon. Isn't that the Pokemon from the picture? That's a real-life Iron Boulder. That thing is built. Wow. Rumors say that this fellow charges his horns with energy, then uses them to plow through everything in its path. Haha, if that were true, then this thing would be a real fearsome threat to face. Now, let me just snap a couple photos here. This could mean the other Pokemon I showed you is real too. Report back to me if you find it, okay? Excuse me? What? Griffin, that Pokemon? Isn't that the Pokemon from the picture? A real Iron Crown. It's so mecha. Rumor has it that this fellow can fire off beams from his horns that cut through anything at all. Ha, if that were true, then this thing would be a real fearsome threat to face. Now let me just snap a couple photos here. Wow, you actually went and found them both. I can't even be surprised. That's just like you, Griffin. Between you and me, I was having a hard time focusing on my own work. I couldn't keep my mind off those photos. You saved me. I know I didn't promise any rewards or anything, but I've got to thank you for putting the mystery to rest. Here you go. This prize is a real catch. You obtained a sport ball. What? Sport ball. Oh, so from the bug catching contest. Okay. It's wild how much mystery is left in the world, isn't it? When you're a kid, you can just run wholehearted wherever you want, but it's not so easy when you get older. You keep running, Griffin. Find unknown Pokemon, have great adventures. Do it for me. And now, I think I better get back to work. Now, despite everything that I've been through, we are still not done. There are still a couple more items on the agenda today. I would like to try to get as much as I can done in this one video because I want this to be the last one. At least for now. Alright, so now we find ourselves in the land of Kitakami. If you recall, at the start of this episode, we got that book from Briar. Okay? And for those of you who remember details on the land of Kitakami, there's that crystal lake on top of the mountain. Now, what I've done is I've taken Terapagos out of the PC and I've put it into my party. And I've been told that if you take Terapagos up to the crystal lake on top of the mountain in Kitakami, you get, well, something happens. So we're gonna find out as soon as I get up there. There we go. Hello, Terapagos. Terralumi! Oh! Well now. This is a curious development. Have I somehow broken through the boundaries of space-time? And who are you? Professor Turo? Professor? Have we met? If so, I'm sorry, but I don't seem to recall it. I am Professor Turo. I research Pokémon in Area Zero, and yet... What? This Pokémon, is this the Iron Serpent? That's what it's called? Seriously? This is Miraidon. Is that right? So its name is Miraidon. That's a good name. From the clues you've already let slip, I suppose I would have to conclude. From my perspective, this must be the future. Though the course of the complexities of space-time are beyond count. It's possible that our encounter might not even be occurring in a timeline connected to my own. Perhaps this meeting is nothing more than a fleeting miracle. Why don't we exchange as much useful data as we can in what little time that fate has gifted us? A very pragmatic man. What do you mean by exchange data, though? Is there anything you would like to ask me? Oh my goodness, this is cool! Why are you here? I don't precisely know the cause. I was analyzing some recent data in my secret lab one moment, and the next I was standing here before you. Perhaps this is the influence of the crystal Pokemon that lies dormant in that place. Or perhaps the cause lies with you and I. Is there anything else you wish to ask me? What are you studying now? I am researching methods to catch Pokemon that live in different timelines, so I might transport them to the present day in my own timeline. It sounds fantastical, no doubt, but I am drafting plans now for a machine that may achieve it. You see, this book captured my imagination when I read it as a child and has never let go. But progress has been slow and beset by failures. I haven't left my lab in quite some time now. I desperately hope I might even glean some new insight from this conversation, so I can finally make some progress and return home. Is there anything else you wish to ask me? What about your family? Oh, you wish to even know about my private life? I do have a family, a son. He is probably at home right now. Well, no, I suppose right now could be inaccurate. Whenever, wherever this is, I imagine he must be quite lonely. Now, let us trade places in this exchange. I'd say the time has come for my own questions. What is this place? It doesn't appear to be anywhere in Paldea. This is the land of Kitakami. So, where Kitakami's crystal pool, eh? I remember reading about it in certain texts. It's said to be a place where water wells up from the ground, imbued with terrestrial energy. It would seem that I have been shifted quite far in both space and time. My next question then. That Pokemon you have, the Iron Serpent, Miraidon. Tell me more about it. It's a precious partner to me. Yes, well, your personal attachment to the creature has no meaningful relevance to the... forgive me, perhaps that was rude. That book you have there. I don't recognize its cover. What is it? The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero? Would you let me see it for just a moment? Descriptions of the Area Zero underdepths and a record of Terapagos' awakening? Who is this Briar to have written such a work? She's a descendant of Heath. That's right, I forgot all about Briar's details about being a descendant of Heath. Now isn't that something? A descendant of the author of the original Violet book. Exploration runs in the family, I see. At any rate, this is a book that would ignite the imagination of any true scientist. I'm sorry, but I simply must have the time to read this book more thoroughly. Oh, the mist is closing in once again. I assume that means our time is near its end. I wish I could spend longer getting to know the Iron Serpent, but I must hurry. That book, I imagine it must be quite valuable. It wouldn't feel right for me to claim it without offering you any recompense. In exchange then, though I hate to part with something so precious to me, would you consider trading that book for my copy of the Violet book? Sure. Yay, we got the Violet book at a totally inappropriate time to get the item notification sound. But at least we have it. A record of an expedition to the Great Crater Paldea given to you by Professor Turo. The book has the name Turo written on it in very clumsy handwriting. I appreciate this more than you can imagine. Perhaps I should take this chance to go home and enjoy a bit of downtime with a good book. This is where we part, fellow adventurer and Iron Serpent. How lucky we were to meet across space and time. I bid you adieu. Aww. Ugh.